Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Podcast Demastered. I'm Chelsea, and I'm here with Wade as always. And on this episode, our last episode of the month of May, we are rounding out our discussion highlighting some Asian American artists celebrating Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Our very first one we did was about Faribault to Manzanar, then we covered Crazy Rich Asians, and now we're going to be talking about a video game. This video game is called Rakuen, and it's...
Ooh.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah.
In a good way, not a bad way.
Yeah. No, an emotional roller coaster of a game. But this game was, created, designed, written, the music composed, all by Laura Shigihara. Now, Laura Shigihara, some people may know her, some people may not. She has become a pretty big composer within the video game world. One of her breakout hit was she did all of the original music for Plants vs. Zombies. She has worked on plenty of other things, from games called To the Moon, Deltarune, World of Warcraft, to so many other ones. And she actually just released, I think it was about a month or two ago, kind of a side story, a little bit of a spin-off of Rakuen.
Mr. Saito?
Yes,
yeah.
Mr. Saito. It's a game that I think we'll have to check out at some point as well. But all I have to say is Laura is very talented, and what an incredible game that we'll try our best to get through this episode without breaking down.
She has destroyed us.
Yes.
She broke us down. She did it. She won.
Mm-hmm. This is all positive praise for her. It's just, wow. I knew going into this game that I was going to have some feels, but I had more than I thought I was going to.
I wasn't ready. I play so many games that are very emotional and that go into all sorts of different kinds of issues and anxieties and things like that, but this was just, I wasn't ready.
I know.
I was not ready.
Yeah. I definitely don't want to get into spoilers with this game. I feel like, because this is a game where I really feel like you have to go onto that journey yourself.
It's experiencing the game is just a whole other thing, and if we told you what happened, it would just it wouldn't hit. Nothing would catch on emotionally.
Yeah. But I think we can do a very little vague initial premise of the game. I feel like that would be at least helpful, so people aren't like, what in the world are you talking about? We don't understand.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So the character you play as is just named Boy, and it's a boy that lives in a hospital, and you get to meet some of the other patients at the hospital, find out a little bit more about them, while also going on a fantastical journey with your mom through a story of her favorite story, from a book that she likes to tell her son.
That's a good, very non-spoilery way of saying that, yeah. And I guess we can, the purpose of the journey is for the boy to make a wish at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you're working towards making a wish. But in the meantime, you're getting to know the people in the fantasy world and the people in the hospital more and more and more. And their stories become very personal to you.
Yeah, they really do. And it's one of those games too where everything is not handed to you immediately. It's through subtle dialogue, or there's notes and stuff everywhere to find, little things and the background that you can help kind of piece some of these things together. But it's also really interesting because you really go back and forth between that the kind of the real world at the hospital versus this fantastical setting, but that they parallel each other, and you have to have both of them to understand what's going on with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just really beautiful, and I think it really helps to, I guess, at least for me, it played with all of my emotions, because I think this game is really well written, and there are certain moments where, especially in I remember in the more the fantastical setting, I was just laughing out loud because these characters, some of them are just so funny.
They were funny though. There were so many times I'd be walking, I just grunt and chuckle. I'm just you mess.
Yeah. These sassy onions and
the sassy onions.
Yeah.
One of my favorite was the butler in the big fancy house.
Mm-hmm.
He had so many just one-liners, just Where he'd just be so calm and collected, he'd just like say something, you're just like, rude.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Serving the tea, that was
Oh,
fun. I liked serving the tea.
and you get the tea too.
And you get the tea.
No, that reminds me, because then there's also this like joke. Is this an apple?
Is that apple? Did he paint himself pink so he'd fit
Yes.
in with the sky buds?
Yes.
And he's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
He's like, I live and breathe and work as, yeah, a skybud. I am not anything else. I am only that.
How dare you?
Yeah. But it also, I think it just works so well because you have like those moments of just like a little bit of joy, just a little bit of like, this is so absurdly hilarious. I love it. And then just those deeper
It
cuts.
crashes you back to earth.
Yes.
It's like, oh,
Having
you were
fun
having
and-
a good
yeah.
time? No, you weren't. We're
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Nope.
This is real life.
Yeah. It's like, remember where you're at. Remember, focus on these sad stories. Gosh.
And they get like the first story is like, which one was the first story? Oh gosh.
With the husband and wife.
Yeah, there's a bunch of those though. There's a bunch of husbands and wives.
Oh, it was the one that kind of dealt with like racial issues. I felt like it kind of had the underlying tone.
Right. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
whole like, I'm Japanese and you're Korean and our families won't let us be together. It was that one. See, that one is like, okay, well, you know, we're used to handling those issues. Sad story, little tragic, like, okay. And then you move past that one. And then the next one hit me a little hard. Cuz that was like the dementia one, right? No, that was the daughter and the son and the dad.
Yeah.
That was
So pretty. I was like, oh no.
yeah. And then the third one, the dementia one.
Oh my gosh.
That-
That one.
I do terrible with those stories because I'm just, you know, like, I don't want to be that person at my old age where, but like, and then he sang his song
Oh my gosh.
and I'm just like clutching my heart. I'm just like, oh my God, no.
When you find out what he was doing the whole time, I'm just like, oh. Yeah, I definitely teared up at that part because it's just.
And then after that, it's really just a pile drive into the ground till the end of the game.
Because I was like, no, I'm like, I'll be fine. Okay, we're good. And then,
Deep breath, pull together,
yeah.
and then sue.
So,
And then sue.
gosh. And I was like, oh, so happy. And I'm like, oh, no, never mind.
You realize the reality of the situation, and
Yeah.
with us trying to thinly veil our spoilers over here, folks, I bet you all are like, what are you talking about? Well, go play the game. That's all I
Yes.
can say. Oh, what
Please
kind of
do.
game is it? We didn't even talk about that.
Oh, no, we didn't. Oops.
So, this game is a game. It was made is it 2017?
Yes.
It was made out of the RPG Maker. A lot of RPG people will remember that because those are like games that you could buy way back on the original PlayStation, where you could make your own JRPG within this game. Well, those things still exist, and Laura Shigihara, she made this entire game using this system. And so there's no combat in the game. You don't have to worry about that. It's pixel based. You know, like old style Super Nintendo-y kind of feel. And it's just like a point and click adventure. You move on the map, you interact with things, you chuckle at some nonsense being said, and you move on. I didn't realize until like the last hour of the game that I could like actively click on the map and they went there.
Wait, what?
Oh, hey, spoiler alert.
No.
You don't have to use the arrow keys to move or like the space bar to interact. You can click on the screen and they'll just go there.
Oh.
And then you click on things and then he automatically interacts with them.
Oh.
Like I was over here getting carpal tunnel and then like accidentally clicked and they went sprinting across the map and I was like, oh my God, I'm so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
Made the last hour so really enjoyable.
Oh, that's funny. I was really actually just enjoying the slow pace of the game because it just really like, I don't know, this game also, it really was, even though it deals with a lot of heavy things, but also like some really funny things, it is really such a like cozy, in a sense, chill game.
Oh
like,
yeah, it paces you out. You can't rush through. The boy doesn't move. He moves. He doesn't move fast, but he doesn't move slow. Like you're good. And like I said, you get tired of moving them, just click the screen.
Oh, hey, yep. Tip for anybody who wants to play this game, yes. So, and also we played this on Steam. That's where we also got this game from.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it literally like 2 months ago just came out on the Switch as well. So there you go.
yep. But, one thing I know that you're very excited to talk about, I guarantee, because it's something that, like...
Because I've been talking about it all day.
Yes. But it also just really adds to, like, it adds everything to this. The music.
There are so many games that you can take the music out of the game and it's still the game. It changes because you're going to miss out on all sorts of things, but with this game you cannot have this game without the music. Mm-hmm. For a lot of the game, the music is just there in the background to give you that setting, to give you that sense of what's going on and the mood that you should be experiencing with that. But what you're doing throughout the game in order for this boy to make his wish is that you have to wake up like the sage of the forest. Mm-hmm. And in order to do that, you have to find 5 pieces of this missing song. And the songs, these 5 pieces, you learn from the people that you help within the game. And those 5 little mini songs, they tell, well, like the end of their story, I suppose. They tell the whole point of their story is the song that they sing you at the end of it. Like you do not have the end of that character's journey until they sing you your song. You don't know how they feel or what's happening or what has happened in some of the cases until then. Mm-hmm. And I bought the special edition of this game, which came with the 52-track soundtrack. 52 tracks, that was crazy.
It's amazing.
And the second I finished the game, I had my little cry session sitting here at the desk. And like I took my phone to bed and I put my headphones in and I listened to almost the entire soundtrack before I went to bed. And then on my way to work, I listened, like half of my trip was like going through the 5 character songs. Mm. And it's just beautiful. Just absolutely beautiful. Laura Shigihara, She wrote it all. And she sang a great deal of it herself too. Mm-hmm. She has 3 other artists sing with her at times, but she sings I would say the majority of the songs in the game. Not every song is like a singing kind of song, mm-hmm. but out of a bunch of the songs, she sings a lot of them.
And they're so beautiful and... No, her music, especially adding at the end, like when that song kicked in, I tried to hold back tears.
Like the end credit song?
Yeah.
I've probably listened to that 10 times today.
I tried to listen to it again today because it's so beautiful, but then I started crying. And I was like, I can't.
Oh. It's so good. It is just... It is. It was the perfect way to end that song. To end the game. The whole game.
Yeah.
Which the ending... Guys, the ending will devastate you. Mm-hmm. I thought I was ready, and the ending kind of sets you up to think something else. And then the last, 5 seconds, you realize how wrong you are. It's just, oh my gosh.
It's a beautiful journey. And a side note, I was thinking of the music and stuff, and how much it adds to the story and the atmosphere and stuff. But it's also, because there's different parts of the game, too, where, silence is used so well.
Or that foreboding beat, maybe I'd say, of the envoy. Mm-hmm. Ooh.
Or there's even a part where it's almost just I think there's one part where you just hear the waterfalls in a certain mm-hmm. area of the game. Mm-hmm. It's just, you never sometimes you realize oh, the music's missing, but then you're just listening to what else is going on, or the silence or anything. It's just, it's really neat because a lot of thought was put into these the games, the different sections, the different characters. You can talk to literally every single character and they all have something different to say.
They will all entertain you.
Yes, they will. And you can click on nearly almost every single object too, and there'll be a little description with it or something else you'll notice. And
sometimes that's very important too. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might miss an item because you didn't go check this thing out.
Where it told you where it was at.
I think Chelsea learned her lesson on that one, I think.
Oh yeah, that one part I was so relaxed and I was like, oh, I forgot where I was. Oh no. So good. But then I almost thought too, like it was alluding to some stuff like that happened like in history, like
Oh, like
significant
real
events.
events. I
Yeah.
wondered for a while, but I didn't go double check the dates of things. Because like in the hospital where the boy is staying for his treatment, like part of the hospital is like destroyed, and they're talking about like how sections of it have been like flooded and like ripped away, and they're still trying to like rebuild, and there's like holes in the wall, like huge
Mhm.
tunnels in the walls of the rooms and stuff like that. And at first you're like, what kind of shabby hospital is this? What
This
is
is
going on?
post-apocalyptic, like what?
Yeah, and then you're like, well, then you get farther in the game, and you're like, oh, something awful has happened to the hospital, and the staff is just trying to make it as comfortable as they can for everybody.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah, it definitely reminded me of a natural disaster. I'm not sure if I read anything specifically that it happened, but there was the big one in 2011. And I wonder if that at least inspired her as part of the game. Because I know this game took at least 4 years to make. So,
I mean, if she was living in Japan or had family in Japan at the time, it's very possible
yeah.
because she is half Japanese, so
Mm-hmm.
she might have lived there for a while.
Yeah. But I mean, it was also just a really big deal, I remember, too. Like, I feel like.
Oh yeah, it was like all over the
Yeah.
news and constant updates and stuff like that for sure.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that it did definitely remind me of such a significant thing like that. But yeah, it's never explicitly said like it was an exact reference to that. But there are definitely things you find out as you continue to explore and how it connects to people and everything, and just it adds more to the story.
And there's a lot, like it seems like the story is very base level like for a while. Like
Mm-hmm.
outside of helping the people and learning their stories, because you're like, oh, that's what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the boy and his mom, they also
Mm.
have a very significant story that
Yeah.
they flat out don't touch on until you get to the point of the game where you need to know it, and then everything falls into place, and you're just that's when your soul cracks in half. That's it. That's the part. I identified it. That's when it happens.
Yeah, because it like throughout the game too, it's kind of like the mom is just so supportive and just there, just
Oh,
following
she's so
her boy
caring, and
around.
she's just like, "Oh,
Yeah.
we want to go into this like fantasy world. Let's do it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go."
Yeah. And I like how you can talk to her throughout it too. Like you can either like talk to her just to say like what's going on, and she'll give a little snippet of maybe about her childhood or something that they did at some point. And then which is also really fun too, like if you need a help in the game, any type of hint, you can also it's one of the things to ask
That's
the
what
mom.
mom is for.
Yep. Which is a fun little way to add that in there.
And she's just there. She'll just follow you around pretty much the whole game.
Yeah.
But she's there for you, like mom
Mm-hmm.
should be.
Indeed.
And just all the games that I've played that have even such huge like existential questions being asked, like I am no stranger to emotional games of that sort. But this one just I think I beat it in 6.5 hours. It's not really that long at all. But man, was this a sucker punch to the face. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It just I don't think I'll ever play another game like this. This is a unique one. And
Mm-hmm.
it won a bunch of awards too, I think.
Oh, okay. I didn't know the specifics.
Yep. And it also got like it got high reviews as well for an indie game. So
Well, very well deserved.
mhm.
That is for sure. Definitely one that it was a kind of a surprise because I think we were just originally looking for a game to play for this month, and we stumbled across this one, and it seemed like a game that both of us would be interested in playing, but it just
I don't think we could have picked better.
no, I don't think so either. It really blew all my expectations, and it was
And now we have a super kick-ass soundtrack to add to our personal libraries. So
yeah, for sure. Well, it makes me looking forward to playing her newest game and listening to that soundtrack. You know, that one has to be spectacular.
for sure. For sure. I don't know enough about this new one. It's just like it's a spin-off of Rakuen.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I know.
And I think it takes place like with like your character's like a businessman or something, so it deals like with the monotonous day in day out job or something like that, and then gets kind of quirky and fun, which I think it may be a little bit more of a happier ending, maybe. I don't know. I didn't get into all the spoilers with that one, but definitely have to check it out.
For sure. Mr. Saito will absolutely be going on my wish list on Steam.
Mm-hmm. Any other final thoughts about Rakuen?
I just tell people if they think that that sounds like something that they would like, go play it.
Yes.
Go play it. Do it for yourself. Do it for your loved ones. Do it for us. Go play it.
Yes. I think that's all that needs to be said with that. So, with that, thanks so much, listeners, for listening to this episode. Be sure to follow, subscribe so you don't miss out on our next episode. And as always, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Pod Demastered. We're also on YouTube. Yes, so thanks so much for listening to this week's episode, and we hope you tune in to the next one, which should be about the Summer Game Fest.